body structure thing. Welcome to It's a Body Structure Thing. Our team is devoted to improving the day-to-day life of the individual through preventative and recovery care based on structural improvement of the body. I'm your host, Ronald Buford, with my co-host and developer of the SRM Body Structure System and Intelligent Threads product lines, Brian Brzezinski.
We're still on.
Are we still rolling?
Yeah, this is like the show. We're actually going.
I thought that was like a first structure.
That was great. No, that was perfect.
I nailed it the first time. It's like, woo!
You did.
It's like, okay.
No, you did. Now we're
Okay.
already into it.
Yeah,
Okay,
you roll
okay.
right into it.
I mean, we can
Well,
even
great.
just
Well,
leave
welcome.
this on there.
No,
because it's great.
It's great because
we don't know what the heck we're doing. So it's all good.
Did I actually get that on the first take? And I was like, yes. It took me like 5 takes to do the.
You
It's
did
a body
perfect.
structure thing.
Yeah, you did perfect.
No, that was nice. So, hey, first time doing the podcast.
Yep.
SRM.
SRM.
Health, Intelligent Threads. You know, really wanted to get you on this and start developing the understanding of this truly amazing new technology that's out there. That's, you know, when I start looking at it, I think, oh, this is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, it's just the tech that's actually in this wearable fabric is just truly amazing. So first, like, let's go through, you know, really what is your mission with SRM and Intelligent Threads?
Yeah. With SRM, I feel like what we're trying to do is help people. I mean, that's my overall mission is to help people.
Right. So explain to everybody what SRM is.
SRM is Synergy Release Method, and it's just a method of helping balancing out the structure of the body to help it perform and function at its highest level. Over the last 20 years of me working, I see on a daily basis people coming in and their structure's all out of place.
Right.
And so what we found is we can correct the structure or help the structure be in a better position, then the performance kicks up. But we found a lot of times that they just feel better overall because the structure
Right.
is better.
Right. So how does that compare to like a chiropractor or a person that's focused on like muscle movements and bodily structure?
Yeah. Chiropractors are great. They do a lot of good things for people. I have some good friends that are chiropractors. There's some amazing ones out there. There's some bad ones too.
Right.
But there's some amazing ones out there. And so they work primarily with the spine and the bones, which is great. What we do is we kind of have a blend of everything. We do muscles, we do bones, we do nervous system. And so if we can get all the muscles to release and the bones in the right position,
Right.
and the muscles to not compensate, and I think compensation is one of the bigger things out there that we deal with, then after about an hour of working on somebody, they're good. And then we don't see them for a long time. We don't have to see them for a long time because there is no compensation that pulls the structure back out. And I think we can get into that more.
Sure.
Because
Right.
that's a whole nother series right
No,
there.
I know.
But,
I've
yeah.
been trying to follow your brain through this process over the last few months that you and I've been working together, and every time I meet with you, I feel like, oh, I just increased in knowledge base just a little bit more today, you know, and you're just like, oh, did I not tell you that before? And I was like, no, not in the last, 20 years since I've known you. And you're just like, oh, well, sorry about that, but here it is, and I think that's absolutely just amazing that you just keep coming up with new and inventive ways to improve just overall body health.
And really, I'll say right now, it's not me coming up with it. It's just the Lord working through me that shows me how the body works, because he's the one that designed it, created it. I'm just the first one that gets to see it, so it's pretty amazing because I'm not that smart. I'm not a doctor. I have no doctorate degrees. I'm not a chiropractor. I'm not a physical therapist. I'm nothing like that. I was just I met a guy that brought me into a way of doing things, and I've expanded on it. And so through his help, and so that's who I am, and that's what we do. We want to help people long term and actually get something done.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know you and I've talked about this before, but for all the time that I've known, the longest time that I've known you, is you've been a great moral compass for me, because I'm very, let's go get it, let's charge up the hill, and you're like, wait, let's think about this first.
Right.
So it's a great kind of interaction between our two personalities. So how did you come up with, intelligent threads, and give us a little bit of background detail about your process and what it really does?
Right. So, I think Intelligent Threads was birthed out of SRM. So when I started working with SRM over 20 years ago, I realized the muscles had a huge control over the bone or the muscle structure or the bone structure of the body. And so what we were finding was we were having people feel better, but if the muscles tighten right back up, then what was the point?
Sure.
Everything went right back out.
Right.
So with Intelligent Threads, I said, if I can make a way to stabilize the muscle structure, to keep the structure right, to keep the bone structure right, then you're going to have a whole lot less problems and deals. Now, it took me 15 years to come up with the science and technology behind it. We had to do all kinds of fun stuff. But now we have a product that actually does help stabilize the structure. It releases the muscles that actually pull the compensations, that start the compensations in the first place, or holds the compensations. And so I think that's a big part we need to talk about today is compensations.
Right. Take me through that a little bit. You say, it helps relax the muscles.
Yes.
And helps with the compensation of the body structure. Like how?
Okay, so I like to tell stories.
Sure.
I'm a good storyteller. I think I am.
No, I know.
And and so this is kind of how I look at it. We're all familiar with stumping our toe. We've all stumped our toe before. And when we stump our toe, what happens is we don't walk on our toe, we walk on our heel. So all of a sudden now we're walking on our heel instead of our toe. So we've compensated for the pain in our toe. But I think we constantly do this all day long. We compensate and uncompensate, compensate, uncompensate. And what happens is eventually the body, instead of uncompensating back into its anatomically neutral position, it goes into a different compensation. So now you have one compensation that goes into the second compensation. Well, it could last like that for a minute. It could last like that for a year. And then it goes into the third compensation. Well, hopefully it works its way back out. But what we found, when certain bones get in the wrong position, or scar tissue, or repetitive motion, like a golfer. Think about a golfer. He only swings to the left. In fact, I've told some of the golfers, I said, hey, y'all should swing to the right. And they go, no, Brian, we only swing to the left.
Right.
I go, no, but you should, because I'm not a golfer.
I'm not left-handed. I can't do that.
Yeah, but just every once in a while. But it would take a lot to overdo that because it's a repetitive motion. And so if we can figure out, my thought on that is, if we can figure out how to uncompensate the body, then it holds, and I don't have to see people over and over and over. I don't want to see people. I want to get it right the first time.
Right.
And I don't get it right every time, first time.
Sure.
There's some cases that I'm like, wow, this is really bad.
Right.
But I feel like we get a lot of people right the first time, which is important. And that's what we've taught. We've taught people how to do SRM, to teach or to get it right the first time.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really unheard of one visit to someone that can correct your structure. And the questions that I get, well, how many times do I have to go see this guy? Because, he's, 2 hours away, or, 30 minutes away from me.
Right.
Say once.
Yeah.
They're like, no. There's no doctor, therapist, chiropractor, whatever type of specialty person out there that you just see once.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest impact I get from people.
Until you do something stupid, then you come back. But.
Yeah, right. I mean,
it's true.
I mean, I've been forced into CrossFit with my wife, and
awesome. CrossFit is good if you do it right.
Well, when you're old and not as good an athlete as you used to be, like myself, then it's like, hey, can I see you every 3 months because I did something stupid on wall walks, this last CrossFit Open. But I think that's the biggest kind of aha I get from people is like, oh wow, I can see him once and it's 80 to 90% less pain, body structure's back to normal, I'm back working out.
And I think when people ask me what's the difference, because if the compensations is what holding the bone structure out,
Right.
until you get rid of the compensation, that bone structure won't stay.
Right.
Now, if you fall down, the bone structure goes out. Then you put the bone structure in, it stays.
Right.
And so, I just think we found a small niche in the compensation.
Sure.
But it seems to affect a lot of people. And so, that's my goal, because what happens is people come along and if you go out and look at people, their right shoulder or their left shoulder is down. One's usually down more than another. The head's, I can't tell how many people have come in my office lately. The head is
just leaning
forward.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Right.
And I'm seeing teenage kids whose heads are more forward than I've ever seen. I've been doing this 20 years. When I first started, maybe I didn't pay attention, but it didn't seem like the kids were that bad. It's like, and I imagine it has to do with screens leaning
now
forward, computers.
Down
I imagine that's what it is.
Right.
But if we can undo that, then we can set them up forever in a better way. And then we can show them how to do just a few little simple stretches to keep them right.
Right. Right. It's not like you have to come in here every single time and get readjusted. It's no. You have our intelligent threads and a couple of movements, and your body should self-correct.
And so when so if you look at somebody, you see the right shoulder down, and so the right shoulder goes down, and the body's compensating for something. Well, what should happen is that right shoulder goes back up into its correct anatomical position. So when the right shoulder goes back up, now their compensation's right.
Yeah.
But what will happen is the right shoulder goes down, and then instead of the right shoulder coming back up, they compensate again, and now
With the hips.
Yeah, the hips come around, and maybe they squeeze the back, and then they have back pain, and they go, oh my God. But really it came from what was going on in the shoulder per se. Now, it could be in 100 different ways, but in this example.
Right.
And then say that lasts a day, it could last a year, could last 5 years. And then all of a sudden the back gets better, but now my knee hurts. Now, when they come to me and say, Brian, my knee hurts. And I say, well, it's coming from your shoulder. They go, but it's my knee that hurts. And I go, yeah, but it's coming from your shoulder because it's a compensation thing. It's a structural thing.
Yeah, it is a structural thing.
It is.
And I think
It's a structural thing. Sorry.
I don't know. How many takes did I have to do? It's a structural thing.
It was a good intro, though.
Yeah,
I liked it.
well,
I liked it.
eventually. We'll see. We'll see if people like it or not.
We might have to redo it. Who knows? Anyways.
So if it's different, then, we didn't like it. But now, and, sitting here in your office and really trying to understand, everything that's going on.
Right.
And my thought process was like, oh, if I have a knee problem, you come in and you fix my knee.
Right.
And you really treat everybody the same way.
Pretty much.
And unless it's something crazy, right?
Right.
I mean, for the most part, I've watched you do, a multitude of different, people in here, different sizes, shapes, ages.
Worked on, yeah.
Yeah, worked on. And you pretty much handle it the same process from entry into finish, right? And it really doesn't matter what's hurting,
right?
Because that's not really the actual issue, right? And it's like, oh, my knee's just absolutely killing me. It's like, well, your tailbone is off, or your first rib, or something along those lines. So because you go through that entire process with them, ends up correcting the entire body structure, right?
Yeah. So think of it like a car. If your wheels are out of balance, or your car shakes at say 50, it won't shake at 60 or 40, but it shakes at 50. Well, there's something wrong. So you don't put jet fuel in the car,
right?
Now you need gas for it to run.
Sure.
So we're not discounting gas,
right?
But at the same time, if we can balance, we can put one weight on one tire and then it runs smooth. Right. Sometimes I've seen them do it. I'm like, that's amazing.
Right.
But it has to do with alignment and all that stuff.
Sure.
Well, most of the time people come into me and they say, hey, I have this issue here, but I'm looking at them and they have 20 different compensations through their body.
Sure.
That's all directed to that issue. And that's the settling place that the compensation settled. And so their shoulders out, their necks out, their hips are out. They're all in the wrong anatomically correct position, but the pain's in the knee. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't care where the pain's at.
Right. I
got to fix the cause.
Right.
The pain in the knee is a byproduct of the cause. Unless you get hit with a sledgehammer in the knee.
Sure. Yeah.
Then the cause is the sledgehammer.
Yeah. Fair.
It has nothing to do with compensation.
Right. So, and this is kind of what boggles my mind a little bit. Why isn't there more of a focus on fixing the body structure?
Right.
Versus you go see a physician, my knee hurts. Okay, let's take an x-ray, MRI, whatever it might be. And then we go into knee surgery.
Right.
Why don't we look for better ways other than just diving right into surgery and saying, oh, okay, maybe people do PT and some other things in order to make sure that they don't have to have surgery, but it's still not addressing the root cause.
Right.
So why do you think that we haven't gotten to that point in our medical system to really understand how body structure works?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think surgeons are amazing. They're way smarter than I am.
Yeah,
I would not. I couldn't be a surgeon.
No.
I mean, they're just brilliant.
Right.
And I've met some amazing surgeons. And if you come to me and your arm's dangling, I'm going to send you to a surgeon.
Right.
There's nothing I can do. So there's definitely times and place for all medical stuff out there.
Absolutely.
I remember when I first got started, people would come to me and they would gripe about their chiropractor.
Right.
And I thought, man, these chiropractors are horrible.
Right.
But then one lady came to me and she goes, my chiropractor's really good, but he can't fix this one issue.
Right.
And I thought, what do you mean your chiropractor's good? I thought they were all bad.
Yeah.
Because, back then I knew everything. And
well, when we
was
were in our
amazing.
20s, we're,
Yeah.
all of us are Captain America, right?
I knew everything. I could fix everything. Yeah. But what happened was that, everybody goes through a process, and what you realize is, man, actually they're fixing a lot of stuff.
Right.
Those guys are fixing a tremendous amount of stuff. And some of them, I think, can figure out the compensational aspect of it. But when it comes to that, I think that's not taught. I don't think that's in that realm. And so I think they focus in on what they can see. If you see a bone broken, then we know that's the issue, or we know that's the problem.
Right.
And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find the compensational pattern, correct that, and then the body sets into place.
Right. You're trying to find the why. Like, you break an ankle going down the stairs. Okay. I slipped.
There's your why.
Maybe. Or my knee was out and my hips were twisted, and that's the reason why I fell down the stairs. So it's a why of the why.
Well, it's kind of like I work on these football players.
Right.
And everybody's seen a football player on TV.
Yeah.
And they tear the ACL.
Right.
Well, their knee was already out of place.
Right.
Especially the ones that didn't get hit. They're in the backfield, they throw the ball up and they grab their knee. Their knee's already out of place. And just that little bit more tension on the knee of turning, snap the ACL. But wait. These guys lift weights for a living. They
work out 8 hours a day.
Yeah. Well, no, they don't work out 8 hours a day, but they work out a lot.
Yeah.
That's what they do for a living. And you're going to tell me that their muscles in their legs are weak or the ACL's weak? No, it's where it is. But if you have a constant strain on the knee, because it's 2 millimeters out of place, that puts a constant strain on the ACL, because the ACL can hold I forget how many cubits of pressure, but it can hold 800 cubits of pressure, something crazy.
Right.
There's no way for them just turning for them to be able to blow their knee out.
Right.
But once you get the compensation out and the structure right, then it's ridiculously hard for them to tear their ACL. If a Mack truck hit their knee, all bets are off.
Well, and there's some athletes, football players that are like Mack trucks.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And then if they do have a direct contact to the knee with it planted, then 100%. I'm not going to prevent every injury, but at the same time, I think we can greatly reduce it. And that's what we've seen with the people who work on, the athletes we work on. We see a lessening of injuries, and that's what we want to do. We want to help people, make them feel better, and do better.
There was one story that you were telling me a couple of weeks ago. Who was it? Was it who took a shot at the knee that was wearing intelligent threads?
Oh, we had a football player. So we came out with intelligent threads in January of 2016, and that year, one of the NFL players I was working on. I think at that point we were working on him since his sophomore year, and it's probably 8 years. We've been working on 8 years.
Right.
And every time we work on him, his knee is a little bit out of place.
Right.
And with the football players, it's not uncommon because they like to hit each other. Not that they like to hit each other. Actually, they don't like to hit each other, but Well, maybe
some of them
do. But they hit each other. It's like getting in a car wreck. So
Sure.
those people, obviously, we see a little more often just because of their daily activity.
Right.
But every time I saw this guy's knees out of place. And so when I came up, we had 3 prototypes of intelligent threads because it took forever to make one. But anyways, I said, hey, man, try this on. So he tried this on. He goes, this is crazy. I said, yeah. And I showed him how it works. I showed him how the muscles release. And he goes, this is cool. He said, can I have this? And I go, no, but you can wear it. I said, I want it back. I still haven't got it back, by the way. I'm getting it back. Anyways, we talked to him the other day, and I was like, do you have that shirt? He goes, not here. I was like, okay, thanks. Appreciate it. In the game, they made it to the playoffs. Let me back up again. We were working on him about every 2 to 3 weeks.
Right.
He started wearing the shirt. He started wearing them in the game. Started sleeping in it. In about 2 or 3 weeks, we go back out there. Look at him. His knee's in place. He goes, man, I've been feeling really good because it's helping stabilize his structure.
Wow.
And I'm going, this is amazing. Now, this is like my first set of data points.
Sure.
Because this is the first NFL player that wore it in the game.
Right.
And then utilized it and worked out that. And I'm going, this is amazing. This is amazing. And the little science geek inside of me is like, yes. And so, because science is amazing. Because that's what it has to be about science. But anyways, so we go about 2 months and we don't see him. Because he's feeling good, which is great, and that's what I want.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out there.
Right.
I want to fix him once.
Right.
With football players, it's a little bit different.
And replicate that process.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm like, this is great. And then they're in the playoffs, and they're playing against, I believe, the Steelers, and this guy, and he's blocking a guy or something. He's got a guy posted up, and he's pushing on a guy, and this other guy comes and just hits his knee. I mean, like full body into his knee, and it hyperextends his knee. And I'm like, oh, because I love when we work on the players, I love watching them because I like to see them perform.
Sure.
And I was like, oh no. So they kind of like goes off to the sideline, and I'm like, oh no.
And then they replay it.
But but I could see the little shirt that he was. I knew he was wearing my shirt because I could see it was a red shirt. You could see like the little red underneath his jersey. I'm like, oh yeah, he's got the shirt. This is a test. This is a test.
This is a test, right?
And so hopefully he's okay. Obviously.
Oh yeah. And they show it again, like his knee.
Yes, they show it again.
Going back in. It's like
he basically hyperextended his knee pretty heavily.
Right.
About 2 or 3 plays later, he's back playing again. I'm like, okay, this is good. This is good.
Right.
So I'm there. It's like 6 a.m. He calls me. He goes, did you see the play? I go, how swollen is it? He goes, not that swollen. I go, do you want me to come up there and work on you? He said, yes. So I jumped on a plane, got out there. He said, well, I don't have, I'm a little swollen because he did strain it.
Sure.
But I checked his knee still in place.
Wow.
And it didn't hit it to the side or anything.
Right, it was a direct shot, yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, okay, now let's take the shirt off, do that play again, and see what happens. So, we could see one side. So we're speculating. We're 100% speculating.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's amazing. I think he's convinced, like, that definitely helped me out. And then they went and won the Super Bowl and everything, and it was good. And so we were really excited about that. And I would say that he would say that the shirt definitely helped him in that
impact.
Yeah. And so from that point on, I'm like, wow, this is going to be great.
It's got something special.
This is something that, and then the funny part is I had an idea of what Intelligent Threads does.
Right.
Actually, the myo-equilibration or the myo-e inside the Intelligent Threads, what it does.
Right.
But then we're constantly figuring out more things it does, because when the river, when you have, like, you want your body to be like a river constantly flowing. The better it flows, the less impedance that's in the water, the less trash that can sit on the water. The trash can flow downstream and out of the body.
Right.
And so the more out of place you are, the more scar tissue you have, the more stuff's in the wrong position, the harder it is for the river to flow. And so you have logs in the river. You have a bunch of logs in the river that's constantly pulling in the trash.
Sure.
And so it's amazing to see, just by getting the body to flow properly, how much it affects and helps every other area. Now, you still got to eat right.
Right. You still have to eat right.
Still got to eat right. You still got to lower your stress. You still need a detox.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not against. I mean, that's very important. We're not the magic bullet.
No.
It's not going to fix everything.
Definitely not.
It's not a pain reliever.
But as far as a body structure thing goes,
It's it definitely fixes the
like
body
that?
structure.
Did you like that little?
I liked
throw
it.
in?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Not bad.
I like the names growing on me.
I'm learning, you know. So
That's good.
it's good. I'm throwing a little test out there.
It's
to
a
see.
body structure thing.
Thank you, producer.
You're not going to live that down a long time. But anyways, that's Ron's voice.
20
by
years
the way.
later, somebody's gonna come in and go, "It's a body structure thing."
You're like, thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, that's
It took me like 20 takes. It's fine.
it's all good.
No, and what I was just thinking about is like how many professional athletes in your, you know, you said we were talking about this earlier before we got on the podcast. You've worked on or had actual patients into the tens of thousands at this point.
Yeah, I've had, for the best I can recollect, I've had about 30,000 appointments.
Right.
But a lot of the people I see in the lifetime of seeing them, I might see them 5 times, or
Sure.
I might see them once. I think I average probably 2.
Sure.
So, 10,000 people. But if I only see you once every year or two,
Right.
when you come back, it's like a new person.
Right.
Because it's like, you come in with a back pain the first time.
Right. New life events.
You come back and you're like, I hurt my knee. Well, that's like working on somebody completely different.
Sure.
Well, the nice part is they're pretty much straight besides what they messed up,
Right.
which is nice.
Well,
But-
and how many like big time like athletes have you worked on?
Professional athletes, hundreds.
Hundreds.
I don't think I've hit the 1,000 mark, but
Okay.
definitely hundreds. And then we've worked on some really big name guys,
Sure.
that have done really well within their sport and everything. So we were able to help them. It was good. One in particular, he when they approached us, they said that he's thinking about retiring because he's in so much pain,
Right.
and his back never really hurt him again. And so we were like, how great is that to help
somebody
feel better? And then the cool part is what we did to help him probably 13 years ago.
Right.
What we do now is archaic of what we were doing with him.
Oh.
Because the Lord's constantly showing me new things and how
Sure.
to help stuff
Sure.
and how to go through. And it's not like the Lord's like, Ryan, move this way. No, but he shows me. He brings me people that gives me ideas, or he brings people into my life that shows me stuff. I've never heard God's voice audibly,
Right.
but at the same time, there's promptings and like, oh, well, this makes sense, and then you just start figuring out. Because how do you think of something you've never thought of before?
No,
you can't.
And I've honestly witnessed this many times with you. And Brian, we've got to come up with this, and you're like, I'll pray about it, and it'll come to me.
Yeah.
And every single time you say that, it just baffles me.
Well,
that you just come up with it. I'm like, wow. Okay.
Well, that's the most important part of life, right?
Right.
He knows the end game.
Right.
I just listen to him.
You put it out there in the universe, and it comes back to you.
There you go.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think this leads me to kind of the last part of, episode 1 here. Episode one. What is
structural thing?
It's a structural thing. I think that was better than the first one I did. Anyway.
I'll edit it later.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't care. I do care, but sorry, I broke the fourth wall. My bad. So what is really your vision, your ultimate goal with SRM, with Intelligent Threads?
I think we found a small niche, and we figured out how to help people in a different way, and I like to get that out there to help people because we just see person after person after person getting helped.
Right.
And I'm not saying there's got to be some other people out there that do something like me. There's got to be something out there. I haven't met them yet. I'd love to meet them. Please call me.
Right. Absolutely.
I will. I'd love to work with anybody. But my goal is to help people.
Yeah.
So if we can come up with a systematic way to help people, if we can train more people, which we have, we're starting to already train people. We're about to get into some really good testing to where we have huge data points and quantifiable numbers that
can't wait to see some of those testing points.
We've already done some testing, and they're crazy.
They're crazy.
They're crazy.
Right.
But whenever we get into it more, and so I think what we're trying to accomplish is to get this out there because I think we found the niche. We found the niche between position A and position B. Right. We found a gray area in there that we can help, and I think it'll help a lot of people because sometimes they don't need to do. Sometimes they don't need to do exactly what what they think they need to do because they don't know there's another option.
Right.
And so we're another option. And there's lots of other options out there too.
Right.
We're not the only option.
Sure.
But we're a different option.
Sure.
And so I just feel like we're supposed to multiply this and help people.
I mean, that's a great goal. I mean, every time you and I have sat down, I was like, Brian, what's your goal?
Mm-hmm.
And you've been like, hey, I just want to help people. There's no, nefarious or, and
take over the world.
You're probably the most truest individual I've ever met in my entire life, which is pretty incredible. And, to have this type of the SRM by itself, to me, is just truly amazing. I mean, I was one of your guinea pigs 20 years ago at Baylor University that we worked on. But
I worked on Ron. We'll get into this later. 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 We'll a teaser. It's a teaser.
It's a teaser. It's another episode.
Episode like 3 or 4.
But I've been a believer / there's got to be something to this, because I'm a conspiracy theorist like everybody else in the world is. It's like there are UFOs. I mean, you want to believe that there's something behind the curtain, right?
Absolutely.
And still, I was like, I'm still looking for the little thing. I was like, where is it? But I love you and I believe in you. And the SRM has helped tremendous amounts of people.
Right.
It's helped me, through multiple issues. Right. And then on top of that, that by itself is phenomenal. Right. But then you throw intelligent threads on top of it, which is another mind-boggling, just
it is
phenomenal piece of material. And I say,
way to explain it.
No, I know.
In a fully,
I know
way that people get it finally.
It's getting there,
mm-hmm.
and I say material because right now it's in a shirt, right? But it's truly
a technology
within any type of material,
textile,
any type of textile
that we know of
so far, that makes dramatic impacts within a few minutes or seconds of even wearing it.
Yeah.
And it just absolutely blows my mind. And I've seen the testing. I've seen it, help people. I've tested it myself multiple different ways, with my, trusty Whoop strap, and it's phenomenal. But that's, again, for another show. But I'm very excited to dive into the details.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to even showcase other people as well. I think I've met some pretty amazing people out there, and if we can shed some light onto other people that help,
right?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
why not?
I'm in, man. Sounds great. Hey, good first episode, bro.
I like
awesome. It was great. Thank you for joining It's a Body Structure Thing. I'm Ron Buford, along with Brian Brzezinski. Please join us for our next episode. Visit Intelligent Threads and like us on Facebook, Instagram, watch us on our YouTube channel, and listen to the podcast. Visit the website at www.intelligentthreads.com. For SRM, Synergy Release Method, find us on our website at www.srmethod.com. Sponsored by, we don't have any sponsors at this point, so it seems oddly self-serving to sponsor ourselves, but oh well. Intelligent Threads, powered by Myo-E technology. The first athletic wear able to release and relax muscles with no wires or external power sources. The technology in the material helps your muscular and skeletal structure reset by releasing the tight muscles in your body. Yes, real muscle release in this new wearable technology. Now, why aren't you wearing one? Visit Intelligent Threads on Facebook, Instagram, our website, www.intelligentthreads.com, and see us on our YouTube channel. It's a structural thing. Activating your body to its full potential. The future of preventative and recovery wear is here. Be activated.